Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. In what seems like a sarcastic jibe at the centre's delimitation plans, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has once again urged people of the state to have children immediately, stressing that the state's successful family planning measures have now put the state at a disadvantage. He warned that population-based delimitation could impact Tamil Nadu's political representation. Now, it's not M.K. Stalin alone who has raised this. Even Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has voiced his apprehensions in the past. Andhra Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has also given a call for more children. All this even as Union Home Minister Amit Shah has assured that no state will lose a single seat when it comes to the delimitation process, and that concerns of southern states are genuine and will be given all seriousness that they deserve. Now, why are southern states worried, and where does India stand when it comes to its population challenges? Now, the political aspect to this is that the country is preparing for the next census. Several political parties in the south of India feel that the existing distribution of parliamentary constituencies across the states is tilted in favor of more populous states such as Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, while southern states such as Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh and even Karnataka have a fewer number of seats. If you look at those graphics out there, it also says that if delimitation occurs, they fear that southern states will face a decrease in the number of seats that have been allocated to them compared to their northern counterparts. Remember, over years, southern states have seen a significant demographic shift as the TFR, or what we call total fertility rate, has fallen below the replacement level. The fertility rate in southern states is at 1.6, and it is below national average of little above than 2. Now, this is what has concerned South Indian political leaders, who feel that southern states should be recognized and rewarded for their efforts to control population growth and not be penalized for their success. Just to remind you, TFR is the average number of children that a woman will have during her reproductive years. Now, a TFR of 2.1 is considered the replacement level. A population can maintain its size across generations. But for context, if you want to see, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh have a TFR of 1.4 and 1.5 respectively. And Uttar Pradesh and Bihar have a TFR of 2.7 and 3 respectively. But it's also important to remember that southern states are less populous than their northern neighbors, because for years South India has led the way when it comes to gender equality and also reproductive autonomy, resulting in lower TFR. Now, it's time to maintain those gains and also improve their outcomes and not turn the wheel back or the gainful outcomes these states have made. And let me also tell you what experts have said when it comes to declining fertility of India's more prosperous south. They say that this also mirrors the downslide that has been witnessed in wealthier countries that have had little success when it comes to reversing this trend. Let me show you some global figures. Latest figures for England show that TFR declined to 1.49 children per woman in 2022. This used to be 1.55 in 2021. In fact, the rate has been falling since 2010. Developed countries such as Scotland and Northern Ireland also show similar trends. In the US, it's a similar story. The fertility rate has fallen last year to 1.62, which was seen as a record low. Back in 1960, it used to be 3.65. In fact, data shows that 2/3 of the world's countries now have childbirth rates which are below replacement rate, which also includes Japan, China, South Korea, all of them facing this challenge. Now, let's talk about India. Although the census, which was last conducted in 2011, has been delayed in India, TFR of this country is a little over 2 at present, a little lower than the replacement level of TFR, which is 2.1, indicating that in the next few years, population would be declining at this rate. But at the national level, these are not alarming numbers, considering that India's current population is much higher than the kind of land mass that it has or resources would allow. Now, a significant section of India's working age population is not even a part of the actual labor force. And population density is yet another parameter. In fact, India is at the 20th slot globally. And relatively large countries, there are only few which are denser with people. Now, the countries with higher population density than India, but more developed, like South Korea, Singapore, cannot even be compared to India because they anyway have TFRs that are lower than India's. So, it might be too early for India to fret over falling TFR, but in fact, more important to optimize on the gains that many states in India have made, build on their health and education parameters, prepare for the future, because what data shows is that the demographic dividend of India is seen to peak by around 2040, after which it may start withering. And while not just southern states, many other states in India have also reached a below replacement level fertility, asking people to have more babies now is actually turning the clock back. More babies and more pressure on households, especially women, is not the solution for a political problem, is what we think. That brings us to the question we want to raise today. Are the southern states suggesting turning the clock back on our reproductive gains? Is this regressive thinking or just political posturing? If all women or most women in India are now getting an education and many of them are gainfully employed and there are fewer children, there's also a cost to it that women have paid, challenging existing structures. Should that be reversed for political gains? And who is going to bear the brunt of all these efforts to increase population? How will it impact the mental and physical well-being of families, especially women? That's what we will try and discuss tonight. But first, let's take a look at the reactions that came into the story.
உங்களுக்கு பிறக்கக்கூடிய குழந்தைகள் முன்பெல்லாம் குழந்தைகளை நீங்கள் பெற்றுக்கொள்ள வேண்டாம், அவசரப்பட வேண்டாம், கொஞ்சம் பொறுமையாக இருங்க என்று சொல்லிக் கொண்டிருந்தோம். இப்போ சொல்ல வேண்டிய அவசியம் வரல, சொல்லக்கூடாது இப்போ. ஏன்னா மக்கள் தொகை அடிப்படையில் இடஒதுக்கீடு அந்த நாடாளுமன்ற உறுப்பினர் எண்ணிக்கை வரும் என்று சொல்லுகிற நேரத்தில் நமக்கு எண்ணிக்கை மக்கள் தொகை அதிகம் இருந்தால்தான் எம்பிக்கள் அதிகம் வரும் என்ற நிலை இன்றைக்கு உருவாகி இருக்கு. ஆனால் நாம் குடும்ப கட்டுப்பாட்டில் கவனம் செலுத்தி அதில் வெற்றி கண்டோம். அதனால் இந்த நிலை நமக்கு ஏற்பட்டிருக்கிறது. ஆனால் இப்போ யாரும் உங்களுக்கு குழந்தைகள் நீங்கள் அவசரப்பட்டு பெற்றுக்கொள்ள வேண்டாம் என்று நான் சொல்ல மாட்டேன். உடனடியாக பெற்றுக்கொள்ளுங்கள். ஆனால் பெறக்கூடிய குழந்தைகளுக்கு அழகான தமிழ் பெயர்களை சூட்டுங்கள். அதுதான் என்னுடைய வேண்டுகோள்.
இல்லைங்க, இது தமிழக முதல்வர் மட்டும் சொல்லக்கூடிய கருத்து இல்லை. ஆந்திர முதல்வர் கூட சமீபத்துல, ஏன்னா எல்லாருக்கும் ஒரு அச்சம் இருக்கிறது. நம்ம சரியாக நடந்து கொண்டோம். இந்த நாட்டுடைய நலனை கருதி பல திட்டங்களை செயல்படுத்தி இருக்கிறோம். அதனால நம்ம பாதிக்கப்படும் பொழுது, என்னுடைய மக்கள் பாதிக்கப்படும் போது அவர்களை நான் பாதுகாக்க வேண்டும் அப்படிங்கிற இல்ல பாப்புலேஷன் கண்ட்ரோல் இஸ் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். நான் இல்லைன்னு சொல்லவே கிடையாது. அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு கருத்தை நீங்க எல்லாத்தையும் ஒரு லிட்டரலா எடுத்துக்க முடியாது இல்லையா? அதுக்காக சொல்றேன்.
This meeting is unwanted, uncalled for meeting. Irresponsibly, Mr. Stalin, to hide his government's failure in the last 4 years, deteriorating law and order issues, violence on women, and attacks on children, school children, girl children, and lowering of our economy. So absolutely the governance is totally mismanaged. So in order to hide these facts, Mr. Stalin is trying to instigate the people of Tamil Nadu by bringing in state rights issues, language issue, and now suddenly delimitation issues.
We have Poonam Mutrija from the Population Foundation of India. We also have R.K. Radhakrishnan, and we also have the DMK and the BJP spokespersons here. To you, Poonam Mutrija first. Dr. Mutrija, how do you see the problem of not just TFR, but also the larger political debate around southern states saying that they're losing out because of family planning policies implemented years ago? How do you see this debate? Can there be social solutions to political problems?
Yes, there can be social solutions, but if we are only going to do political rhetoric around political solutions, instead of political solutions, and we ask women to have more children, that is not a solution. First of all, as you also said, fertility rates cannot be reversed. Women are not a switch you can put on and off. We were telling them to have fewer children. Now we are asking them to have more children. It does not work. And there are many, many solutions that can be looked at from the world, as well as the possibility of postponing the delimitation, which happened earlier in 2001 in India. That is a possibility that exists. Women's agency and decision-making power over their reproductive roles has to be at the center of any debate or discussion. Instead of asking women to have more children, the discussion around delimitation is an important one, because there is going to be inequality going forward, and the gains that southern part of India, which we are very proud of in the country, that they have invested in women, they have invested in education, good health infrastructure, better governance, and they cannot undo those gains that they have made. They should be proud of it. Instead, access to affordable family planning services, education, economic empowerment of women should continue. But there are other options, like, as I said, extending the fees, weighted criteria instead of relying solely on population figures. Delimitation can incorporate weighted criteria like literacy rates, healthcare, such as economic growth, because economic growth in southern parts has been better, but definitely not penalizing the woman. A more thoughtful, balanced, and equitable approach to delimitation is needed, and that is what the debate should focus on, to prevent outcomes that the southern states fear of smaller constituencies, less finances. We cannot be unfair to the South.
Right.
I totally am there. But at the same time, we can't be unfair to the women of South, whose demographic transition suggests that regions are at a different stage.
Right.
And extending this freeze will solve a lot of problems instead of taking away women's reproductive autonomy and decision making.
Okay.
Finally, women are making wise decisions for their families, or families are making wise decisions to educate their children. They know that the better off people have 2 children only. And finally, when there is child marriage in India, and 1/4 of the girls marry below age 18, you can't have young women and ruin their life opportunities by saying marry early and have children early.
Right.
The Tamil Nadu chief minister and others haven't said marry early, thank God, but that's the next they'll come to.
Right.
They're asking women to have children as soon as they get married is something that is not realistic.
Okay, several important points there that Dr. Muthreja has also raised. We have Yahini PM from the DMK. We also have Kalyan Raman, who's a senior leader of the BJP, also in charge of the BJP's intellectual cell. But before that, let me go across to RK. RK, help us set the political context for this, because, the Home Minister has said that, he has given out his assurances that nobody is going to lose out anything. But Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's important charge that the state is getting penalized for its policies. How do you see this play out politically? Do you also see Tamil Nadu getting support from other southern states, or do you see Tamil Nadu getting isolated in this?
No, thank you for the opportunity, Vasudha. I don't see Tamil Nadu getting isolated. There are voices being raised in Kerala, Karnataka, Telangana, even Andhra Pradesh for that matter. It is a fair demand. Let us not ignore the elephant in the room and focus on what M.K. Stalin said, which in any case was a sarcastic comment. Please, the English version, the only popular translation of what Stalin said is only in the federal. I didn't see it anywhere else. It was a sarcastic comment. It is not, Madam Puram went on and on and on and on, trying to say that this is not the way to go. Absolutely, this is not the way to go. M.K. Stalin has no reasons. He has absolutely no idea of taking that path at all, because Tamil Nadu has been set on a path. His father set Tamil Nadu on a path. MGR set Tamil Nadu on a path. It's not the same path. Delimitation, yes, is the elephant in the room, and we cannot suddenly say that why is there no space in the room and not address the elephant in the room. That is the issue here, and I think we are losing sight of that. And I have seen comments in both Kerala and Karnataka, Telangana come out very strongly in support of what Tamil Nadu has been saying. In both the issues, both the 3-language formula as well as on delimitation, what we have seen is there is some kind of agenda setting happening on the part of Tamil Nadu. Yes, So initially it was isolated. In fact, the first thing that Stalin took up was social justice, if you remember, about a year and a half ago. But unfortunately, that didn't have any traction, even though there was a conference in Delhi. Wilson had organized the conference. That didn't have traction. But what I see now, both in social media and outside friends reaching out to me and all of that, is that this has wide traction across many regions of India, including Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. And I think we are going to see a lot more of these reactions across India as the DMK keeps its social media outreach alive and kicking, and MK Stalin going hammer and tongs in every single function talking about the same issue.
Right. Also, Mr. Kalyan Raman, when it comes to language or delimitation, the issues that Mr. Stalin has been raising for the last few months, they also are closely related to the issue of autonomy of the state, something that has been politically motive for the state for many years. Do you think by making the discourse largely about national identity issues, BJP will also have to shift from raising local failures of the state government in the last 10 years to addressing some of these issues which may not be aligned with what maybe a lot of Tamils feel?
First and foremost, RK had said that it was made in a light vein or in a sarcastic manner. I would add on to RK saying that it was more, of course, it was sarcastic, but also irresponsible and insane. To raise a point which is so huge about delimitation, which is the ghost that he is creating without knowing that in the absence of a census that is still not done for the last 15 and odd years, no delimitation can be possible. So if somebody is going to imagine by himself like Stalin today, and then go on to say that please give birth, and then say that we are going to lose 8 seats and all. It is all totally imaginary, highly irresponsible. A person sitting at the position of a chief minister must have enough of responsibility and accountability towards the society, because he is seen as an inspiration, if any. The very unfortunate fact is that they have been in government between 1999 with us for 5 years, and then subsequently with the Congress for the next 10 years until 2014. During which the extension was given in 2001 for 25 years. We don't even know what is going to happen, whether it is going to be further extended, as Poonamji had rightly pointed out, that it may be extended, can be extended. There is no hard and fast rule that it must be done this way. In the absence of what is going to happen, they are creating some ghost out of nothing because the law and order in Tamil Nadu is failing, number one. Number two, a lot of women are being victimized, for which the government is only trying to do a lot of cover up. On the economy front, they are doing very bad in terms of fiscal management. All this is being questioned in the ground. So unable to bear, unable to tackle it, they are trying to set a new narrative in which they are trying to cover up for their failures.
Okay, Yaini, would you respond to this? Is the chief minister indulging in fear mongering, and is because there's no clarity on when the delimitation process is going to take place, or is there a precedent by which you think that it is time to also raise this issue?
Yes. So first of all, I'd like to answer to the BJP spokesperson. He just said that we are imagining, right? There's no hallucination among the chief ministers of the South Indian states. We all of us know that during the inauguration of the parliament, there are around 888 seats, and Amit Shah, the minister Amit Shah, also told that there will be a delimitation based on the pro rata basis. It's just that the BJP senior leaders and also the spokesperson, they give a very ambiguous answer. They never give us a straight answer. All we are asking for is, what does pro rata mean? On what basis are you going to go in for delimitation? So delimitation is a constitutional, it's mandated in the constitution by 2026, right? So when there is a constitutional mandate to conduct a delimitation, and also during the women reservation bill, it was made very clear by the BJP that women reservation bill will take place after the delimitation. So my question is, was the BJP bluffing the people and the women of India specifically regarding the women reservation bill? And why isn't the BJP giving us a clear answer? And with regards to some of the points made here, I would like to make few clarifications. As a state, the Tamil Nadu has always risen above the interest of Tamil Nadu, and we've been okay with the devolution of the taxes, our share of the taxes to the Hindi-speaking states. And even with the Finance Commission, the share of the tax that we get, it was only because we were okay with the aim that the Hindi-speaking state, there will be a convergence in the development indexes and also the growth indexes between the Tamil Nadu and the other South Indian states. But if you look at the trajectory, there has never been a convergence. In fact, the gap has widened. So is the trajectory right? So our states has been rightfully demanding, right, a better share of the taxes, at least 50% of the taxes to the state. Sir, I didn't interfere when you were speaking. I had the decency.
You've had your time, Mr. Kalyan Raman. Quickly respond to this before I take the last word from Mr. RK and Poonam.
So we are already being penalized for the population control that the Tamil Nadu has achieved. As you already said, it's only 1.4. The TFR is 1.4, right? So the delimitation will further decrease our representation in the parliament. So it is not something we are hallucinating about, and the projections clearly that we are going to lose the representation here in terms of the percentage.
Mr. Kalyan Raman, respond to that, sir.
First of all, Yayini tells me that if she is married and if she has got a husband and wife, they will only build one room and they will not think about the future. That is what she is saying by saying that the parliament is built with so many seats. This is the typical way of DMK responding to the situation. You must have enough of foresight, number one. Number two, in terms of the economy, there are a lot of things which have been discussed. There is a gentleman called CM who doesn't even understand what is GST and says that he can stop it. This is the level to which the DMK can bring down the discourse. In
time last closing remarks from both Poonam and RK.
It is very difficult for us to respond to the insanity or irresponsibility of DMK.
It's really wrong for him to use such comments when we are right.
Okay, Ms. Mutreja, how does a country prepare in terms of policy? Because you heard both the spokespersons speak, and there's one word that people keep using with respect to demography or population, time bomb, which is quite frightening in some ways for a woman. How do you see a procedural activity like delimitation happening? It can have political hues, social impact. What should policy makers be mindful in this regard?
So the demographic transition theory suggests that regions at different stages of population growth require tailored policy responses. The rationale behind freezing delimitation in 1976 and extending it to 2001 still holds. Let's, above all the principles of not penalizing the states that follow the population stabilization agenda must remain central to any proposed solution, that they are not penalized. Number two, please leave women and their fertility decisions out of political debates. Politicians, please do not try and enter the bedrooms or the homes of people. These are personal decisions. Fight your battles, ask the right questions of the government, come out with good solutions. The solutions are out there, and debate on that. Leave the women alone.
Okay, RK, closing remarks from you, sir. Also, do you see this becoming a South versus North debate?
Absolutely. The entire direction this is headed, as long as there is no meeting convened in Delhi of all the states on this particular issue, is that there is going to be obfuscation from the part of the government. And hence, there will be enough and more time and place to create more of these narratives that Tamil Nadu will lose 8 seats and Kerala will lose 5 seats or whatever. So this confusion needs to be sorted out, and it's up to Delhi. Ball is completely in Delhi's court. It has to convene a meeting of all CMs and explain what they have in mind when they say pro rata basis. Vasudha, that's all.
Thank you so much, all of you, for joining me on this broadcast. The scepter of delimitation has once again shrouded Tamil Nadu and other southern states, like RK says. But will this unite South India or isolate Tamil Nadu? It has much to do with the reduction in their representation in the parliament. And while social solutions are important, it's also important to understand the politics behind this. With that, it's a wrap on the show. On the other side, we'll discuss Supreme Court's latest intervention in regulation of digital content. Stay with us.